The crystalline spires of Nexus Prime caught the purple light of twin suns, casting prismatic shadows across the Grand Plaza. Jake Morrison stood at the panoramic window of the Earth Embassy, gazing at the alien cityscape he'd called home for the past 4 years. 50 years after humanity's inclusion in the Galactic Council, the novelty had worn thin. What had once felt like a privilege now felt like a beautifully decorated cage. "Ambassador, your transport is ready," his assistant said from the doorway. Jake nodded without turning. "Thank you, Eliza. I'll be down shortly." The encrypted message had arrived 3 hours ago. Operation Silent Moon. 4 years of careful planning, decades of patient strategy, all culminating in 5 simple words that would forever change humanity's place among the stars. Jake gathered his small travel case, containing nothing of real value, and took one last look at the office. The truly important files had been systematically purged over the last 6 months, replaced with carefully crafted misinformation. He straightened his formal diplomatic attire, adjusted the Earth emblem on his lapel, and walked out without looking back. 12 light-years away, Captain Lisa White of the cargo vessel, New Horizon, was supervising the final loading operations at Kepler Station when her comm unit buzzed with priority clearance. The message was brief, but her heart rate doubled instantly. "Cooper," she called to her first officer. "Wrap up loading immediately. We're leaving in 15 minutes. "Captain?" The young officer looked confused. "We're only at 70% capacity, and the manifest clearly states, 'Those orders are superseded. Operation Silent Moon is in effect.'" Cooper's eyes widened. He nodded once and sprinted toward the cargo bay. Lisa opened the ship-wide communication channel. "Attention all crew. This is not a drill. Secure all stations and prepare for immediate departure. I repeat, this is not a drill." Throughout Kepler Station, the same scene was playing out across every human vessel. Cargo doors slammed shut mid-loading. Repair operations ceased without warning. Diplomatic meetings ended abruptly as human representatives excused themselves with vague apologies. In the council chamber of Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Vextall was midway through his quarterly address when an aide approached with obvious distress, whispering urgently in his ear. The 8-foot-tall, gray-skinned diplomat paused, his compound eyes blinking rapidly, a sign of agitation his species rarely displayed in public. "Esteemed colleagues," Vextall announced, his voice carrying effortlessly through the vaulted chamber. "I must request a brief recess. There appears to be a situation requiring immediate attention." The assembled representatives murmured in confusion as Vextall swept from the chamber, followed by his senior staff. They gathered in a secure conference room, where the emergency briefing was already underway. "Simultaneous across all sectors," General Throck was saying, his reptilian features tight with concern. "Every human ship, station, and outpost is evacuating. No warnings, no explanations." "A drill, perhaps," suggested Prime Minister Kashara, her feathered crest rippling with anxiety. "Negative," Throck replied. "Our sources within Earth's diplomatic corps confirm this is designated Operation Silent Moon. Whatever that means, it's real." Vextall stared at the holographic display, showing the rapid movement of human vessels throughout Council space. "Have they given any indication of hostile intent?" "None," confirmed the intelligence officer. "They're simply leaving." On Earth, in the Oval Office, President Martina Chen reviewed the status reports with her Security Council. The operation was proceeding exactly as planned. "All diplomatic personnel will be clear of Council space within 6 hours," reported Secretary of Defense James Wilson. "Military and scientific outposts are at 92% evacuation and accelerating." "And the shield?" the President asked. Dr. Amy Rodriguez, lead scientist on Project Independence, stepped forward. "Ready for activation, Madam President. Once all our people are safely home, we can initiate the energy barrier." And the Council won't be able to penetrate it? Not with their current technology, Rodriguez confirmed. The quantum field generates a self-sustaining barrier that effectively places our entire solar system in a different phase space. Their ships simply won't be able to interact with our region of space. The president nodded. And our new allies. The Valdari have confirmed their support, said Carol Thompson, Director of Earth Intelligence. They've been even more oppressed by council taxation and voting restrictions than we have. Once we demonstrate the shield's effectiveness, they're prepared to implement their own and join our alliance. Very well. President Chen's expression was resolute. The council has had 50 years to treat us as equals. 50 years of extracting our resources, exploiting our labor, and denying us full voting rights. Today, that ends. Jake Morrison's transport ship joined the growing fleet of Earth vessels, assembling at the designated rendezvous point, just beyond Nexus Prime's orbital jurisdiction. Through the viewport, he watched as diplomatic shuttles, cargo haulers, and private transports arrived in growing numbers. The comms channel was strictly silent, no unnecessary communication that might reveal their intentions. On the bridge of the fleet's designated command ship, Admiral Sarah Blackwood oversaw the operation with cool efficiency. "Status report," she ordered. 98% of Earth citizens accounted for. "Admiral, the stragglers are on their way." "And Colonel Parker's team?" "Successfully extracted from Fort Liberty. All sensitive data has been purged from Council systems." Jake approached the Admiral. "Any response from the Council yet?" Blackwood's expression remained neutral. "They're scrambling. Emergency sessions, fleet mobilizations, exactly as we predicted." "And Phase 2? "Captain Barnes is already making contact with the Valdari leadership. The groundwork has been laid. In his private chambers on Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Vextall faced the Emergency Council. The holographic projections of 26 species representatives formed a circle around him, their expressions ranging from concern to outright panic. "The humans have recalled all their citizens," Vextall explained. "Every ship, every diplomat, every trader, all returning to their home system." "Have they declared war?" demanded the Krell ambassador, his metallic exoskeleton clicking nervously. "No," Vextall admitted. "They've made no declarations at all." "This is unprecedented," said Prime Minister Kishara. "No species has ever simply withdrawn from the Council." "The economic implications are severe," added the Borith Trade Minister. "Human labor runs half our agricultural facilities. Their engineers maintain crucial defense systems across 17 sectors." General Throck's hologram leaned forward. "We should deploy the fleet to Earth immediately. This is clearly the prelude to some form of aggression." "On what grounds?" countered Ambassador Tellius of the Centauri. "They've broken no laws. They've committed no acts of aggression. They are simply going home." "We depend on their technical expertise," insisted Kishara. "The Catherine Hive's asteroid defense grid is almost entirely maintained by human engineers. If they abandon their posts—" "Then, perhaps," interrupted Tellius, "we should consider why we've become so dependent on a species we've consistently refused to grant equal status within our council." Colonel Ben Parker stood in the command center of Fort Liberty for the last time. The massive military installation, built into an asteroid in the Proxima Centauri system, had been humanity's primary defensive outpost in Council space for 30 years. Now it stood empty, its corridors silent, its systems shutting down one by one. Parker's hand hovered over the final command console. His orders were clear: complete data purge, followed by controlled self-destruct of all classified technology. Yet he hesitated, memories flooding back, training new recruits, celebrating victories, mourning losses. For a moment, doubt crept in. Was this truly the right path? His comm unit chimed. "Colonel, status report," came Admiral Blackwood's voice. Parker straightened. "Final sequences initiating now. Admiral, Fort Liberty will be dark in 5 minutes." "Good. Your transport is standing by. Don't linger. Understood. Parker entered the final command codes. Across the installation, hard drives wiped, servers erased, weapon systems disabled. The facility that had been humanity's pride would soon be nothing but an empty shell. As he walked to the transport bay, Parker passed the memorial wall, photographs of those who had died defending Earth's interests in alien space. He paused, touching the image of his former commander. "We're taking a different path now, sir," he murmured. "I hope it's the right one." On the Valdari homeworld, Captain Nicole Barnes met secretly with Supreme Commander Zaltar in an underground bunker, safe from Council surveillance. "Your people have actually developed the shield technology?" Zaltar asked, his translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns of excitement. "Yes," Barnes confirmed. "By this time tomorrow, Earth will be completely isolated from Council space, by our choice." "And you're certain they cannot breach it?" "The quantum barrier operates on principles they haven't yet discovered. To their sensors, our entire solar system will appear to simply vanish." The Valdari leader considered this. "The Council has exploited my people for centuries. Our resources stripped, our colonies restricted, our votes in the Assembly consistently outnumbered. Just as they've done to Earth," Barnes agreed. "Which is why we're proposing an alternative. Not isolation, but a new alliance. One founded on equality and mutual respect." "The Council controls too much. Transportation networks, defense systems, trade routes, all of which depend heavily on human expertise and labor," Barnes pointed out. "When we withdraw, those systems will begin to fail. The Council's power is more fragile than they've allowed anyone to believe." Zaltar's skin flashed with patterns of decision. "We will need time to prepare our own shield technology. Phase 3 of our plan includes sharing the technology with all founding members of the new alliance. Earth is simply going first, to demonstrate its effectiveness." "And if the Council attacks before we're ready?" Barnes smiled. "They won't. They're too dependent on us now. By the time they organize a meaningful response, it will be too late." As the last human vessels cleared Council space, the situation at Kepler Station deteriorated rapidly. Without human engineers, the automated loading systems began to malfunction. Cargo containers piled up, some tumbling into open space. Environmental controls fluctuated, causing uncomfortable temperature shifts throughout the station. "Get those systems back online," shouted Station Director Morax. "Where are the backup technicians?" "Sir, the automated systems were primarily maintained by human specialists," his assistant explained. "The backups require specific authorization codes that left with them." "Override them!" "We've tried, sir. The systems are locked down with encryption we can't break." Across Council space, similar scenarios were unfolding. On agricultural worlds, automated harvesting equipment stood idle. Defense stations reported critical systems going offline. Transportation networks experienced cascading failures as the precisely calibrated systems that humanity had helped design, and subtly made dependent on their expertise, began to break down. In a secret laboratory deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Dr. Amy Rodriguez monitored the final preparations for the quantum shield. Massive generators hummed, building up the enormous energy reserves needed to create the phase shift barrier that would envelop the entire solar system. "All evacuated ships accounted for," reported her assistant. "The last transport crossed Mars orbit 10 minutes ago." Rodriguez nodded. "Begin final countdown. Inform the President." In the Oval Office, President Chen received the confirmation with solemn acknowledgement. "Proceed with activation." Carol Thompson, standing beside the President, watched the holographic display as the quantum shield initiated. From Earth outward, a wave of energy expanded, encompassing the Moon, Mars, the asteroid belt, Jupiter and its moons, until it reached beyond the orbit of Pluto. "Shield at 100%, reported the technician. "Solar system is now in phase variance with surrounding space-time. Confirm isolation. ordered Thompson. All Council communication channels silent. No signals penetrating the barrier in either direction. And our own communications? Internal networks functioning normally. Quantum entanglement channels to our allies remain active, as designed. President Chen turned to Thompson. Begin Phase 3. In Council space, panic was setting in. The abrupt disappearance of the entire Sol system from all sensors and communications networks triggered widespread alarm. "It's gone!" exclaimed the chief astronomer at the Nexus Prime Observatory. "The entire system, Earth, Mars, everything, they've vanished from our scans." High Chancellor Vextall stared at the empty space on the star chart where Earth's system should be. "That's impossible. A star system cannot simply disappear." "Our most advanced sensors detect nothing," insisted General Throck. "No light, no radio waves, no gravitational influence. It's as if they've phased out of our reality entirely." "Could this be an attack?" Kishara asked, her feathers quivering. "Some form of weapon?" "If so, its purpose remains unclear," Vextall replied. "They've made no demands, issued no threats." The emergency expanded as reports flooded in from across Council space. Critical systems failing, agricultural production plummeting, defense networks compromised. The careful integration of human expertise into Council infrastructure, once seen as beneficial cooperation, now revealed itself as a strategic vulnerability. "Pirates have attacked 3 Borith cargo ships in the Centauri sector," reported an aide. "The automated defense systems failed to respond. The asteroid deflection system in the Rael system is non-functional," added another. "They're calculating impact probabilities now." As the Council scrambled to address these mounting crises, a transmission cut through the chaos, broadcasting simultaneously across all emergency channels throughout Council space. The image of Carol Thompson, Director of Earth Intelligence, appeared on screens across 1,000 worlds. "Greetings to all species of the Galactic Council," she began, her tone measured and calm. "For 50 years, humanity has participated in your interstellar community. We have shared our technology, provided our expertise, and contributed our labor. In return, we have been denied equal representation, subjected to exploitative taxation, and treated as second-class members of the galactic community." Thompson's expression remained neutral, but her words carried undeniable weight. "As of today, Earth and all human colonies have withdrawn from the Galactic Council. We have implemented technology that places our solar system beyond your reach, not as an act of aggression, but as an assertion of our independence." The Council chamber fell silent as the representatives watched, transfixed. "However," Thompson continued, "we recognize that our abrupt withdrawal has created hardships for many worlds that came to depend on human expertise. Therefore, we are prepared to offer alternative arrangements. Earth, in partnership with like-minded species, is establishing the Independent Systems Alliance, a new coalition founded on principles of equality, mutual respect, and genuine cooperation." Vextall's compound eyes blinked rapidly as the implications became clear. Initial members of this alliance include Earth, the Valdari Confederation, the Centauri Republics, and the Deltan Collective. Others who share our values are welcome to apply for membership. Alliance representatives will be contacting affected worlds in the coming days to discuss transition assistance for critical systems. Thompson's final words hung in the air long after her image faded. The age of Council dominance has ended. The era of true partnership has begun. In the once bustling Council chamber, empty seats stood as stark reminders of the shifting balance of power. The Valdari, Centauri, and Deltan representatives had withdrawn following Earth's announcement, leaving the Grand Hall feeling cavernous and hollow. "This is blackmail," sputtered General Throck. "They've deliberately crippled our infrastructure to force us to accept their terms." "Is it blackmail?" asked Ambassador Tellius before departing. "To withdraw one's voluntary contribution? Humans design systems we now rely upon." But they never concealed the nature of those designs. We simply became complacent, assuming they would always remain in their assigned place. As the days passed, the true extent of Council dependency on human expertise became painfully apparent. Transportation networks operated at 30% efficiency. Agricultural production fell by nearly half. Defense systems throughout Council space reported critical vulnerabilities. The Council convened an emergency vote. Should military action be taken to force the humans and their allies to return? The legal basis is questionable at best, admitted the Council's chief jurist. No laws explicitly prevent a species from withdrawing, primarily because no one ever anticipated such an action. Legal or not, do we have the military capability? Vextall asked General Throck. The military leader shifted uncomfortably. Our fleets remain operational, but key targeting systems, quantum communications, and tactical coordination networks were all co-developed with human engineers. Without their maintenance, we're operating at severely reduced capability. Furthermore, added the intelligence director, we cannot even locate Earth's solar system, much less penetrate whatever defense they've erected. While the Council debated, the newly formed Independent Systems Alliance moved swiftly. The Catherine Hive, facing imminent asteroid impact after their defense grid failed, received an unexpected communication. "This is Captain Tony Martinez of the Earth vessel, Resilient," came the transmission. "We understand your asteroid defense system is non-functional. We're prepared to offer immediate assistance." Within hours, Earthships arrived, bringing engineers and replacement technology. The asteroids were successfully diverted, and the Catherine Hive, never full Council members themselves, became the fifth signatory to the Alliance Charter. Similar scenes played out across Council space. Worlds that had been exploited or marginalized under Council rule found themselves courted by Alliance representatives, offering technological assistance, fair trade agreements, and equal partnership. Meanwhile, on the Valdari homeworld, Dr. Amy Rodriguez supervised the installation of the quantum shield generators. The phase shift will initiate in 3, 2, 1. The Valdari system shimmered briefly, then seemed to wink out of existence from Council sensors, while maintaining quantum entanglement communications with Earth and other Alliance members. Phase 2 complete, Rodriguez reported to Thompson. The Valdari are now secure from Council intervention. Carol Thompson nodded with satisfaction. And the Centauri? Their shield will be operational within 3 days. Delton, shortly after. Excellent. And the defense initiative? The combined fleet is assembling in the secured zone between Earth and Valdari space. Joint training exercises begin tomorrow. Jake Morrison, now serving as Earth's representative to the Alliance Coordination Committee, reviewed the reports with growing optimism. What had begun as a desperate gamble was evolving into a genuine alternative to Council domination. "The Proxima colonies are requesting Alliance membership," reported his aide. "Process their application immediately," Jake instructed. "They were always more aligned with our values than the Council's. And the Riel have sent a preliminary inquiry as well." Jake smiled. "Send them our charter and full membership requirements. Make it clear that equal representation is non-negotiable." The Alliance grew rapidly, its membership swelling as more worlds recognized the benefits of true partnership over Council subjugation. Each new member implemented the quantum shield technology, creating an expanding network of phase-shifted systems that communicated freely with one another while remaining inaccessible to Council interference. 3 months after Earth's withdrawal, the Catherine Hive faced an unexpected challenge. A Council battle group led by General Throck himself entered their system, demanding their return to Council authority. "You have illegally seceded," Throck declared. "Return to Council jurisdiction immediately or face military consequences." The Catherine Hive leadership, rather than responding directly, sent an emergency signal to their Alliance partners. Within hours, a joint Earth-Valdari Centauri fleet materialized in the system, larger, more advanced, and more cohesive than the Council forces had anticipated. "General Throck," came the calm voice of Admiral Blackwood. "The Catherine Hive is under Alliance protection. Your presence here constitutes an act of aggression against sovereign Alliance territory." "This is Council space," Throck insisted. "Not anymore," Blackwood replied. "The Catherine Hive has exercised their right to self-determination. We suggest you withdraw immediately." The brief confrontation ended without bloodshed. Throck's forces, outmatched and operating with compromised systems, retreated to Council space. The message was clear. The Alliance could defend its members. The Council's emergency session following this defeat was characterized by recrimination and despair. "We cannot match their military capabilities," General Throck admitted. His earlier bravado deflated. "The humans shared only portions of their technology with us, keeping the most advanced developments for themselves." "Not for themselves," corrected Vextall, the realization dawning painfully. "For those they considered true partners. We never qualified." The Council chamber, once the seat of unquestioned galactic authority, now felt like a mausoleum, a monument to an era rapidly fading into history. "We must vote," Vextall announced, his voice heavy. "Do we continue to oppose this new alliance, or do we seek accommodation?" The vote was not unanimous, but the outcome was clear. The Council would open diplomatic channels with the Alliance, seeking to establish peaceful coexistence. 1 year after Operation Silent Moon began, representatives from across the galaxy gathered on Nexus Prime, not in the old Council chamber, but in a new circular forum where all seats were positioned equally. Jake Morrison, now serving as Earth's Minister of Interstellar Relations, addressed the historic gathering. "Today marks the formal dissolution of the Galactic Council and the establishment of the Galactic Federation of Independent Worlds. Our founding principle is simple: all member worlds, regardless of size, technological advancement, or economic power, hold equal status and voice in our shared future." The chamber erupted in applause, a diverse symphony of hands, appendages, and other biological structures expressing approval in myriad ways. "We do not seek dominance," Jake continued. "We seek partnership. We do not impose. We collaborate. The quantum shield technology that once isolated us now connects us, creating a network of sovereign systems that choose to work together rather than subjugate one another." From his seat among the Federation representatives, Vextall watched with mixed emotions. The collapse of the Council had cost him his position as High Chancellor, but had granted him unexpected perspective. His species had dominated for so long, they had forgotten how to cooperate as equals. "The true strength of any interstellar community," Jake concluded, "lies not in the power to control, but in the wisdom to respect. Not in what we can take from one another, but in what we can build together." As the newly formed Federation committees began their work, Dr. Amy Rodriguez unveiled the next phase of Alliance technology: faster-than-light communication relays, fusion reactors that could power entire planets, and defense systems that could protect member worlds from any threat. "These technologies were always within our capability," she explained to the Federation Science Directorate. "But under Council restrictions, we were limited in what we could develop and share. Now, as equal partners, there are no such limitations." Throughout Federation space, worlds that had struggled under Council rule found new prosperity. Agricultural planets received advanced irrigation and cultivation technology. Mining colonies gained automated extraction systems that preserved worker safety and environmental integrity. Defense grids were upgraded and standardized across all member systems. Carol Thompson, addressing the Federation Security Council, outlined the new paradigm. "Our strength is not measured in battleships or weapons, but in our commitment to mutual defense and support. Any threat to one Federation member is a threat to all, not because we demand it, but because we choose it." Colonel Ben Parker, now overseeing the Federation's Emergency Response Division, found purpose in his new role. The doubt that had plagued him during the evacuation of Fort Liberty had transformed into conviction. His teams deployed across Federation space, providing disaster relief, technical assistance, and security support wherever needed. "This is what we should have been doing all along," he told his officers. "Not enforcing dominance, but enabling prosperity." Captain Lisa White of the New Horizon, which had been among the first ships to evacuate Council space, now commanded a Federation exploration vessel. Her mission: to seek out new civilizations beyond known space, not to subjugate them, but to invite them into the growing community of equals. "The galaxy is vast," she told her crew, as they ventured into uncharted regions. "And our understanding of it is still in its infancy. We go forward not as conquerors, but as learners." On Earth, President Chen addressed the global parliament. "1 year ago, we took an unprecedented step. We isolated ourselves from a galactic community that refused to treat us as equals. Today, we stand at the center of a new community, one founded on the principles that have guided human progress at its best: equality, respect, and cooperation." The quantum shields that had once served to isolate now facilitated a new kind of connection, allowing instantaneous communication and travel between Federation worlds, while maintaining their collective security against outside threats. The Catherine Hive, once facing extinction from asteroid impact, now operated the Federation's most advanced space traffic control system. The Valdari, freed from Council exploitation, shared their unique biological sciences, leading to medical breakthroughs that benefited all species. Even former Council loyalists gradually recognized the benefits of Federation membership. One by one, they applied to join, accepting the conditions of equal representation and mutual support. 2 years after Operation Silent Moon, Vextal, no longer High Chancellor, but serving as his world's representative to the Federation, requested a private meeting with Jake Morrison. "I must ask," Vextal said, his compound eyes focused intently on the human. "Was this always your plan, from the moment Earth joined the Council?" Jake considered the question carefully. "Not in its specific details, but the underlying principle, that humanity would never accept permanent second-class status. Yes, that was always clear to us." "We underestimated you," Vextal admitted. "We saw your technological capabilities, your adaptability, but we failed to recognize your strategic patience." "That was the Council's fundamental flaw," Jake replied. "You evaluated species based on technology, military strength, economic output, but never on qualities like determination, creativity, or moral vision. And now those qualities shape the Federation?" "They do. Not because humans imposed them, but because they resonated with what all sentient beings desire: dignity, agency, and the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to something larger than themselves." Vextal's posture shifted, a gesture of humility rare among his kind. "My species controlled the Council for millennia. We believed our dominance was the natural order. I now see it was merely a phase, one that has rightfully passed." "History is not a straight line," Jake observed. "It's a series of experiments in how sentient beings organize themselves. Some experiments fail, others evolve. The Federation is simply the next experiment, hopefully a better one." As their meeting concluded, Vextal extended a ceremonial gesture of his species, an acknowledgement between equals. Jake returned it with perfect form, having studied Vextal's culture with genuine respect. "Perhaps," Vextal said as they parted, "that is what we fail to understand about humans. You never wished to replace us as the dominant power. You wished to end the concept of dominance itself." Jake smiled. "The greatest power is not the ability to control others, but the wisdom to empower them. That's what the Federation represents. Not the end of leadership, but its transformation." Throughout the newly formed Galactic Federation of Independent Worlds, The principles that had begun with humanity's quiet withdrawal rippled outward, transforming societies, economies, and relationships between species. The quantum shields that had once served to isolate now connected a community of equals, bound not by force or fear, but by shared vision and mutual respect. In the vast chamber of the Federation Assembly, representatives of 100 worlds, some formerly powerful, others previously marginalized, gathered as equals to address the challenges and opportunities of their shared future. The era of council dominance had ended, not with apocalyptic war, but with the quiet, determined assertion of a better way forward. And at the heart of this transformation stood the realization that true strength lay not in domination, but in cooperation, not in exploitation, but in mutual prosperity, not in the power to control, but in the wisdom to connect. The stars themselves seemed to shine more brightly on the worlds of the Federation, not because they had changed, but because those who gazed upon them now did so with new eyes, seeing not distant points of conquest, but beacons of shared possibility.